Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Welcome to Take It from the Ironwoman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Ironwoman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Ironwoman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Ironwoman. We only have special guests, and today we go to Mica Scalin. I was honored to take a creative sprint with them in the summer, and she will tell us more. But she's an artist, innovator, and coach. She was among the first producers hired by NBC Universal Digital Studios. She launched social media strategy at Showtime Networks and going on and on and on. And she's a fun person. When I think of her as an artist, as a leader, as a coach, and bringing people together, is that a good description of you, or give us an insight? So welcome, Mica. We want to hear from you.
Thank you so much. I love that. That was a really nice intro. And thanks for having me. Where should we start?
Have you been an artist your whole life?
Yeah. I love that as a coaching question. Where do we start? It gets esoteric. My artist identity started very, very young and has remained very core to who I am. I was very lucky to grow up in a family that really valued the arts. Both of my parents have arts degrees. They were the first people in their families, actually, each of their families, to get college degrees, and both of them went to art school. So really, my family holds that in very high regard. I followed in their footsteps after attempting to not go to art school. Then I ended up there and was very happy at the Corcoran School of Art in Washington, D.C. And it was a really wonderful experience. It was like such an incredible opportunity to just prioritize art for 4 years and focus on that and be around people who didn't question the value of that. And then when you get out of that environment, it can be a little shocking how people regard the arts and the perceptions or misunderstandings they have about it.
I'm just kind of like piggyback on that. People have the wrong perception of art. So when people think of art, they think of Picasso, painting. That's it. When you do 4 years of art school, there's much more than just painting. So what is your avenue of art?
Yeah, making my life art. Your life is an experiment. You get very much like coaching. I'd have to understand that we get to be creative in everything we do. Really focusing on the arts in my education just made me furthered my ability to be kind of an experimental person and want to be experimental and seek out opportunities to try different things and see what I could learn from them. Early on, art school gave me a methodology for learning from that. So I think that works right into what I ended up developing that you experienced. But the idea that you develop a creative practice so that you can do these sort of experimental creative things and create a little bit of maybe what might look like to other people chaos, but you are learning from it because you have a strategy and a process for learning from those things. And continuing to grow and stay innovative.
When a coaching client comes to you, how do you combine the coaching and the art? I was fascinated by your sprint. Please tell us a little bit about the sprint. I have to realize that I cannot draw, which I knew already, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Did you learn that from the program? Oh, that makes me so happy. Yeah, it's one of those misconceptions, right? People early on somehow get entangled with the idea that drawing is what makes you a good or bad artist, like drawing something from that looks like the thing that you see or the thing you see in your mind. Arguably also look at Picasso's drawings. What do they even look like? We get entangled with the idea that art or that creativity even is something about like this like ability to recreate in high detail something that we see with our eyes. And sometimes it is that, but it's also about recreating the feelings we have, right? Other kinds of sensibilities or ideas or emotions or just even being playful or experimental. It's so much bigger. And really what happened was how we developed taking that idea of creative practice and bringing it into a business context is how we developed the creative sprint. And that is It's really a methodology that my brother and business partner, Noah Scalin, and I developed. And it's core to the work that we do with companies, is realizing that we were coming into businesses and sharing with them our work as artists and sharing that they could utilize some of these artistic practices for their leadership abilities. We were working with leaders who were being charged with doing things differently. It was a time of innovation for them, or a time where they're moving into a new role and they're being suddenly charged with, hey, now you have to be innovative. Now you have to do things differently, or you have to guide other people in that. But by the time they got to that role, the reason why they got into that role is because they followed rules very well and they knew how to do all the things to get to the next level, and they were able to execute and deliver in a very specific way. But then, as we all know, as coaches, right, at some point, you're going to get diminishing returns from doing the same thing over and over, and relying on those wonderful skills you've developed at some point stops working. And that's when you really need to call out your creativity. So that was what we started doing, and using an artist toolkit. But the challenge was you coming in for like one workshop or one session. We were lucky enough to be faculty at GE's Crotonville for about 8 years. And it would be coming in they only have so much time to give you. You really want to pack a lot in and give them this amazing experience and some things they can take home. But really, people wanted to know, well, how can we bring this back? How can we make this? We understand now you're telling us it's a practice, but like, how do we practice? And that's what this toolkit is about. It's about doing a small amount of creative activity a day, and seeing that creative activities aren't necessarily making a work of art, making a drawing. It could simply be seeing a material differently around you, right? Looking around, and so a lot of the activities actually ask you to kind of transform something in your environment, or listening for sounds, right? And listening better, observing better, these kinds of things. And we know from a lot of research and even neuroscience now that these very small amounts of intentional practice can have a lot of impact. So that's why we designed it as a challenge, because we also know, I'm not saying it's easy. It's a simple process, but it's not easy, just like any other kind of physical expression of our creativity.
Yeah, and when you think of leaders, so as you said, you follow the rules to a certain extent. You have guidelines, mission and vision in an organization. But then when you need to lead a team, every team member is different. Some people are more quiet. Some people speak more out. So you have to adapt to every person. When you can be more creative with yourself, but also the team, then the team wants to be part of the team. As a leader, you need to create followers. So if you're a cool, creative person, you need to bring the people along.
When we do this work, it ends up being like building a little bit of the leader's creative confidence in themselves, of course, that they can feel like they can show up a little bit differently. They can try things a little bit differently, because I understand they're under a lot of pressure, right? They're charged with like asking people to get on board with something, initiating a new project, and everyone's scared, and that resistance can be quite strong. If the leader can model behavior of like being willing to like try something or show up a little differently or take a little risk, even if it's awkward or whatever, that's really meaningful, right? Small things the leader does has a ripple effect. And then that builds trust. So these sort of creative activities, we realize also, we'll use this with leaders, but we also will run every October a free public creative sprint challenge. That has initiated over 200 organizations have brought this into their organization as an initiative. We use it in our leadership development, but they can also bring it right into their organizations and allow everyone to participate in these sort of daily activities. And it continues to build that trust, because they also start to see each other differently because they're working in a different way. The leader can even trust when they're looking around and seeing like, wow, look how everybody, like you said, look how everybody responds differently to this same prompt. So we will give like a very simple prompt of make something with a single sheet of paper and see what everybody does in a room. You give everybody a piece of paper and tell them to make something, give them like 3 minutes. It's really interesting. People do really different things. They have different approaches. And then you also can see similarities where you didn't expect to see similarity. That's like a real beautiful thing.
What is the craziest that you have seen when you say, do something with a blank piece of paper?
Well, first of all, I don't want to say do something with a blank piece of paper, because I know that really scares people. So part of it is really just getting people's hands moving a lot of times, getting their physical bodies involved. You think about this a lot as well, this sort of embodiment. It's just like a modality shift. We're so hyper-focused on staring at our computers all the time. And that's like the least creative space you can give people a piece of paper and have them manipulate physically a piece of paper with their hands. It just changes everything. Someone's going to crumple it. Someone's going to tear it in little pieces. They get ideas from seeing each other. First, everyone's like well, I'm going to make a hat. And everyone starts like kind of folding origami. But then one person tears it. And then everyone's like, you can tear it? I know you can tear it. And then the next thing, someone's weaving it. This is the kind of thing that happens when people take tiny little creative risks together.
And also taking the time. We're so focused on results, all the emails, the PowerPoints or what have you, and the webinars. Take the time to do something different. And what I enjoyed is it invited me to do something 15, 30 minutes per day. It doesn't take that much because everybody has time to scroll on Facebook or Instagram, whatever.
You're going to give up if you want to add something these days, right? We
And
don't have unlimited time, but we do waste time, as we know, on our devices. And these kinds of practices, this practice doesn't take a lot of time, which people are surprised to find out that, only a few minutes really changed not only how I'm seeing the world, how I'm thinking about things, but also changes your mood. So it has a lot of impact for workplace as well, because the ability to change your mood is like really tremendous.
Do you mostly do those sprints in person or then online?
Yeah. So if we're doing an in-person workshop, we can explain the methodology. But like the program you participated in, which was our Creative Instigators program, and that is a program to really put our tools in the hands of other expert professionals like yourself, coaches and facilitators and managers who want to use this really arts-based methodology to engage people. It's a largely virtual. We've done it during COVID, a client invited us they wanted to use it to help connect their organization, but not just the folks that have been dispersed over COVID, but they had 43 countries. They had 5,000 people in 43 countries that were in a particular division that were sort of figuring out how to work together differently. So that was the largest group that did a creative sprint together.
Wow, this is amazing. But it's possible.
It's nice because, again, the leader gains their confidence in being able to even like draw on other people's creativity. Because again, like, it doesn't work if the leader is solely responsible for all the creativity, right? They have to be creating the context. And like you said, it's their job to find the time, actually. You can't make the time as an individual contributor. It's not up to you. You don't decide on how the time is. It's up to the leader to, like, if they want to prioritize that, okay, well, here's how we're going to make the time. And that's really important for them to have the confidence to do that. So this helps if they have a real in-person experience with this, where they know, like, I know this works, I've done it myself, they'll feel more confident.
As a leader, it's cool to show some vulnerability and have your team with you. So then the team can see, oh, she cannot draw. I'm a much better. But we're here to support each other. We need to complement each other. That's also important to see. Yeah. So then tell us a little bit on Summit on ROI of creativity. So how can we understand ROI of creativity when I'm a finance person?
Yeah, isn't that fun? It was a question that we started when we first started doing this work. We were like, hey, you should do art stuff in your company to help with leadership development. And again, people were curious about what we were doing right away, and we were lucky to find some really wonderful advocates. But we had to answer that question, and we just thought it was such an odd question. What do you mean, what's the ROI of creativity? But at first we responded to it like as kind of like funny, and we kind of responded in a joking way. We would ask back like, well, what's the ROI of electricity? And then they would be like, huh, good, you're right. Because at one point we didn't have electricity. People were probably asking like, well, what is the ROI of this thing we don't know that we don't need? How do we know that we need it? So it was kind of a fun way to probe back. But the question, it does demonstrate that people, while they're curious about creativity or they say they want it or need it, they don't really understand the value. If you don't understand the value for yourself or for your organization, right, it becomes harder to prioritize in your life that time. It's hard to advocate for it, and it's hard to invest in it. We decided what we would do was to help people understand that ROI for themselves, because it's going to be different for different organizations and different people. And that's the other challenge too with the creative and arts things, is that we're often told it's so valuable that it's invaluable. So we don't want to put any kind of like we don't want to measure it. We don't want to put any numbers, especially people in the arts. We often struggle with that. We're guilty of that too in the arts side, right? Of not wanting to like put a metric on something. The truth is, what is to understand what value does it have for your organization now, right? Could be enhancing well-being and reducing stress. There are some very specific ways you can introduce creative strategies. Collaboration, as we said, and coordination and how we create better together. That's another theme. Of course, innovation and productivity and making changes, doing something differently it's culture. It's attract and retain. We know for sure that like cultures that are perceived of as creative in organizations, they attract and retain better talent. There's a lot of ways to understand it. So we put together a summit where we're bringing together a number of different experts who've written really cool, very generous books on different aspects of really where creativity can have a lot of impact, and including neuroscience, including like human development, organizational development, all kinds of aspects. And we're running it currently with a 30-day creativity challenge. So you sign up, you'll get to participate in weekly live sessions with experts, and you'll get 30 days of creative practice for yourself.
When will that start?
That begins we have a sort of prep session on September 22nd, and it runs through October.
We have all the information in the show notes so people can sign up and get to know the ROI of their creativity. What do you do to recharge your batteries?
When you're working in a space that you're passionate about, I love the arts and I love the professional and personal development space. So much of your work is giving you energy back. But sometimes it starts to drag on you because there's aspects of your work that are exhausting or you're not getting the feedback you need. So I thankfully have a lot of good creative practices for myself. So I do have my little art studio over here. I can dive into playing with some art materials for myself. So I love that. I have a very strong yoga and meditation practice. That's really important these days. And I love to go to the beach when I can.
Okay, why not, right? So at the beach, you can rejuvenate and get the good energy.
I love the air. I love the feeling of the sound of the water. And we live in New York where we have wonderful beach access kind of all year round.
It's even nice in the winter, I feel like.
It is nice, yeah.
Right? Coney Island in the winter is a well-kept secret.
Moody and cool, yeah.
Yeah, you just need to bundle up.
Maybe you and I will do a polar bear one year. Have you done it?
I have not done it. I have to think about that.
They run into Coney Island on New Year's Day. Crazy.
Have you done it?
No, but I'm curious.
Let's put it out there. First, we check on the ROI of creativity, and we still have a few more months to go before we probably have to sign up Polar Bear Plunge. All right. Thank you so much for giving us a glimpse into your life, and please keep creating, and we will follow you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What are you taking away from this lively discussion? What is your ROI of creativity? Let's find that out. Take it from the Ironwoman. We have episodes every Monday. Come and join us. Come and learn with us. Travel with us. Do some arts and also have some fun. And Take It from the Ironwoman is also the book Global Business Coaching with Sports Parallels. Download it or get it in your local bookstore. Support the local stores. Like and subscribe to this podcast on the platform where you're listening to this podcast too. Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you next time, and bye-bye.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.